Could the San Francisco 49ers be on the verge of a shocking trade that could change the landscape of the NFC West? A controversial beat writer has thrown out the outrageous suggestion of swapping our promising young quarterback for a veteran star from a rival team. Is this just a wild fantasy, or could it signal a bold strategy as we push for a Super Bowl run? You won't want to miss what this could mean for our beloved Niners. Make sure to subscribe and hit that like button to stay in the loop with all the latest 49ers news. You know, as a passionate fan of the San Francisco 49ers, it's hard not to get fired up about the latest buzz surrounding our team. Recently, a certain beat writer stirred the pot with a ludicrous trade proposal involving Brock Purdy and Stafford. Seriously? Trading Purdy to the Rams for Stafford? It's almost as if the offseason is making some folks lose their grip on reality. Let's take a moment to unpack this. Grant Cohn, the controversial beat writer in question, argues that the 49ers are in a win-now mode, while the Rams are looking for their quarterback of the future. While I can appreciate the sentiment, who wouldn't want to capitalize on our current roster's potential? This proposed trade just doesn't make sense. For one, intra-division trades of this magnitude are practically unheard of, especially involving two quarterbacks. Can you imagine the fallout from fans on both sides? Now, looking at the stats, Purdy had a solid year. He threw for 3,164 yards, matching Stafford's 20 touchdown passes but with fewer interceptions. Plus, let's not forget that Purdy added value on the ground with 5 rushing touchdowns. Stafford, while experienced, had his own struggles last season, throwing for 3,162 yards with a completion percentage of 65.8. So, is Stafford really that much better? I'm not convinced, and let's talk about the relationship between Cohn and the 49ers. It's clear he's not the favorite among the players or even head coach Kyle Shanahan. This trade proposal feels more like a clickbait headline than a serious suggestion. I think a lot of us can agree on that. There are legitimate rumors that the Rams might be looking to move on from Stafford, which opens up a whole different conversation. If they're searching for a new quarterback, could they turn to a familiar face like Jimmy Garoppolo? While Garoppolo has had his ups and downs, especially outside of Shanahan's system, it would be interesting to see him donning the Rams' colors. I think most of us would relish the thought of our staunchest division rival potentially taking a step backward with a quarterback who's struggled in the past. Reflecting on all of this, I can't help but feel that the 49ers aren't going to trade Purdy for Stafford anytime soon. It's a long shot, and honestly, the idea feels more like a fantasy rather than a feasible move. Just because a big trade happened in the NBA doesn't mean it's a free-for-all in the NFL. The leagues operate differently, and we have to keep that in mind. So, where does that leave us? I honestly feel a mix of excitement and caution as we look ahead. The 49ers have a great foundation, and keeping a young, promising quarterback like Purdy is essential for our future. Do I think this was the best decision? Honestly, I'm torn. Part of me loves the idea of exploring new avenues for improvement, but another part believes in the potential that Purdy brings to the table. I want to hear from you too. What do you think? Are you on board with the idea that trading Purdy would be a mistake? Or do you see Stafford as a viable option for a win-now approach? Share your thoughts in the comments below because your opinions matter just as much as the team's decisions. It seems we're back in the same conversation about Brandon Aiyuk and the San Francisco 49ers. Just a year ago, we watched as the 49ers almost traded him away, and now, according to Diana Rossini from The Athletic, multiple teams are once again showing interest in negotiating for the talented wide receiver. This situation is both intriguing and concerning, especially considering the roller coaster ride Aiyuk has had with the team. Remember, Aiyuk signed that hefty 4-year, $120 million deal last offseason, and now we find ourselves in a position where the 49ers might be reconsidering their investment. It's hard not to feel a sense of déjà vu. Rossini noted that Aiyuk was a player many teams coveted even before he inked that big contract. So, what changed? Aiyuk's injury history, especially after suffering a devastating ACL, MCL, and meniscus tear last season, undoubtedly raises red flags. Kyle Shanahan was adamant last year, rushing to the front office to block a trade that would have sent Aiyuk to the Pittsburgh Steelers. He insisted on making Aiyuk a priority, despite the front office's hesitations about the financial commitment. But now, with Aiyuk's health in question and the looming extensions for Brock Purdy and George Kittle, the 49ers may not be so inclined to prioritize Aiyuk. It's a tough pill to swallow. Aiyuk was poised to be a top receiver, But now, with his injury and the team's financial constraints, can they justify keeping him at that price? It's a delicate balance. Bringing in a new player or two could help the team while also giving them some financial flexibility. But if they don't get a return on investment, could they be digging themselves deeper into a hole? Personally, I'm torn. It feels like the 49ers are in a bind, and trading Aiyuk might be the most prudent choice at this juncture. Let's be real here. If the 49ers had pulled the trigger on a trade last offseason, they could have landed a first or second round pick. Now, it seems they might be looking at a return of a third or fourth round pick, if they're lucky. That's a hard reality check for a franchise that has high hopes of returning to the Super Bowl soon. As a passionate fan, I can't help but feel anxious about the implications of these decisions. The 49ers are facing a pivotal moment, and it's essential that the front office makes the right call. Do they stick with Aiyuk and hope he bounces back from injury? Or do they trade him to acquire some fresh talent or picks to build for the future? It's a gamble either way. The prospect of moving Aiyuk could shake things up significantly, but at what cost? And what about the fans? We're all in this together, sharing our hopes and dreams for the franchise. The decisions made now will echo throughout the next few seasons, shaping the trajectory of the team. As we look ahead, one can't help but wonder how these choices will influence our chances of securing another championship. So, I want to hear from you. Do you think trading Aiyuk is the best move? Do you trust the front office to make the right decision? Personally, I'm conflicted. I see the potential in Aiyuk, but I also recognize the need for the 49ers to be smart with their resources. It's a tough spot for all of us as fans, isn't it? Join the debate in the comments. What do you think about the possibility of trading Aiyuk? Are you optimistic about the future, or do you have concerns? I want to hear your opinions down below. As always, if you enjoyed this discussion and want to stay updated on the latest 49ers news, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Let's keep this conversation going, and remember to activate the notification bell so you don't miss any of the latest updates. Let's rally together as 49ers fans, because the road ahead is going to be exciting, no matter which direction we take.